My friend expected me to help her get promoted, since I owe her for our friendship. When I refused, she leaked my private text to the office and tried to ruin my career. She smiled and said, "That's what you get for betraying me." I presented proof of her sabotage and said, "HR wants a word." I never thought my best friend would be the one to stab me in the back. I never thought I'd be sitting here, writing this out, watching my career nearly fall apart because of her. But she made a mistake. A big one. And now, HR wants a word. Alyssa and I met on our first day at work. We were both fresh out of college, starting at an investment firm in Chicago, young, ambitious, and clueless about office politics. We stuck together, sat next to each other, ate lunch together, complained about our bosses together. For 6 years, we climbed the corporate ladder side by side. We weren't just coworkers. We were best friends. Or at least, I thought we were. Alyssa had always been competitive. But it was the kind of competition I never really paid attention to: subtle digs, passive-aggressive comments, an occasional smug look when she did something better than me. It was just how she was. I didn't think much of it. Until I got shortlisted for a major promotion. And she didn't. I found out about the promotion on a Monday morning. My boss, Michael, pulled me aside and told me I was one of the 3 candidates being considered. It was a big deal, Vice President of Finance. Years of hard work, long nights, extra projects, everything I had done was finally paying off. I was excited. And stupidly, I told Alyssa. She smiled, hugged me, told me I deserved it. Then she went quiet. It started small. She stopped inviting me to lunch. Stopped replying to my texts as fast. At first, I thought she was just busy. But then the comments started. "Wow, must be nice to be the chosen one. I just don't get how they overlooked me. I mean, we've done everything together. You know I helped you all these years, right?" One night, over drinks, she said it straight to my face. "You owe me." I laughed. Thought she was joking. Thought she was tipsy. She wasn't. "I helped you get here," she said. "You wouldn't have made it this far without me. You should be pushing for me to get promoted, too." I just stared at her. Was she serious? She was. "You should turn it down," she said. "Tell Michael you think I'd be a better fit. That's what real friends do." I told her no. She smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It wasn't even an angry one. It was something else. Something colder. "You'll regret this." I should have known then. It started 3 days later. First, Michael, the same boss who had pulled me aside for the promotion, stopped including me in important meetings. Then, emails I had sent were suddenly being forgotten in discussions. Projects I had led were being reassigned. People started treating me differently. No one would say why. Until I got an email from HR. Subject: urgent meeting at 3 p.m. HR never schedules urgent meetings unless something is very wrong. I walked into the office and the HR manager slid a folder across the table. Inside? Printed screenshots of my private texts. Messages I had sent to Alyssa years ago. Complaints about work, venting about bosses, jokes about quitting. And taken completely out of context. "This was submitted anonymously," HR said. "It raises concerns about your professional conduct." Michael was in the room. He looked furious. "We need to discuss your future here," he said. I felt sick. Alyssa had sent these. It was obvious. But I had no proof. And worst of all, it was working. HR wasn't interested in hearing my side. Michael had already lost trust in me. And I wasn't even sure if I was still in the running for the promotion. Alyssa had done it. She had turned everyone against me. She thought she had won. She would walk past my desk, smiling like she had already taken my job. Pretending to be innocent. Watching everything crumble around me, waiting for me to quit. But Alyssa was stupid. She forgot one thing. I had everything on her. See, Alyssa wasn't just a bad friend. She was a terrible employee. And I had receipts. She had heavy checkmark leaked company-sensitive information to a competitor. Heavy checkmark faked illness to get out of work more than once. Heavy checkmark slacked off during projects and let others take the fall. Heavy checkmark used company time to work on freelance projects. And the best part? She had told me all of this. Over text. Over email. Even over work messages. And then, she had made the dumbest mistake of all. She had edited my messages before sending them to HR. I knew because I had the originals. And she had saved the real ones in our shared Google Drive without realizing it. Every single one. I spent 2 nights gathering everything. Every text. Every email. Every Slack message. Then I put it all in a neat little folder. And at exactly 9 a.m., I walked into HR's office. "I think you should see this." I slid a USB drive across the table. The HR manager plugged it in. Michael was there, too. And as they started reading, their faces changed. They saw the unedited texts. They saw Alyssa's own messages, bragging about slacking off, lying about sick days, trashing Michael behind his back. Then they found the real evidence. The company leaks. The missing work hours. The fraud. Michael leaned back in his chair. He exhaled sharply. He looked at HR. Get Alyssa in here. Now. Alyssa walked in with that same smug expression. Until she saw me sitting there. Until she saw the folder in front of HR. Until Michael said, sit down. And then? She wasn't smiling anymore. Alyssa sat down. Slowly. For the first time since this whole thing started, she actually looked nervous. She glanced at me, then at Michael, then at the HR manager, Lisa, who was staring at her like she already knew how this would end. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Michael pushed the folder toward her. Explain. Alyssa opened it. She skimmed the pages, her hands gripping the edges a little too tightly. She swallowed. What is this? Lisa leaned forward. You tell us. Alyssa laughed. It was forced, awkward. I don't know what you think you found, but you sent those messages. Michael cut in. You leaked company data. You lied. You tried to destroy an employee's career. And you faked evidence. Alyssa's face drained of color. Her eyes flicked to me. Like maybe I'd step in, save her, tell them it was all a misunderstanding. I didn't say a word. She licked her lips, forcing a smile. That's ridiculous. Lisa tilted her head. We have the originals. The ones you didn't edit. Would you like to compare? Alyssa didn't answer. Michael sighed, rubbing his temples. I need a reason, Alyssa. Why? And then, in the biggest act of self-destruction I've ever seen, Alyssa did something I didn't expect. She laughed. She sat back in her chair, arms crossed, shaking her head. You're all acting like I killed someone. Lisa frowned. Alyssa, you want to know why? She interrupted. Because it's not fair. Michael exhaled sharply. Not fair? We started together. Alyssa snapped. We were supposed to get promoted together. We did everything together. And suddenly she's getting picked over me. She turned to me, eyes flashing. After everything I did for you? I stared at her, stunned. She actually believed this. She actually thought I owed her my promotion. Lisa let out a slow breath. So you sabotaged her career? Tried to ruin her reputation? Alyssa shrugged, leaning back like she wasn't about to lose everything. I just leveled the playing field. Michael blinked. Leveled the Alyssa, you committed fraud. She froze. Lisa folded her hands on the desk. You altered company records. You leaked internal information. That's not leveling the playing field. That's illegal. Alyssa's confidence shattered. She sat up straight, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to argue, but didn't know how. Then, as if realizing just how bad this was, she turned to me. Please. I raised an eyebrow. Tell them you don't want to press charges. And that's when I realized she wasn't scared of getting fired. She was scared of something much worse. Michael rubbed his chin, thinking. Then he turned to Lisa. What happens next? Lisa flipped through the papers. Standard procedure. Internal review. Possible legal action, depending on what we find. Alyssa's eyes went wide. Legal action? Lisa didn't look up. Leaking company information is a major violation. Michael sighed, rubbing his face. I need to report this to the board. Alyssa panicked. Okay, wait. I'll resign. Right now. Just let me go quietly, okay? Michael frowned. So you can go sabotage someone else? No. She turned to me again, eyes desperate. You don't want this to ruin my life, do you? I stared at her. She had no problem trying to ruin mine. Now, she was begging me to stop the fallout. Lisa leaned back, arms crossed. We'll be investigating every project you've worked on. Every email you've sent. Everything. Alyssa snapped. She slammed her hands on the desk. This isn't fair. Michael didn't flinch. Neither was what you did. She stood up so fast her chair nearly fell back. I made her, she screamed, pointing at me. She wouldn't be here without me. And then, she made her second dumbest mistake. She turned to Lisa and blurted out, if you fire me, I'll take everything down with me. Silence. Michael's eyes darkened. What did you just say? Alyssa's breath hitched. She knew she screwed up. Lisa stood up. Okay, we're done here. She turned to Michael. We need to escalate this. Michael nodded. Get legal involved. Alyssa stumbled back, shaking her head. Wait. I didn't mean, Lisa didn't even look at her. Security will escort you out. Alyssa's face crumpled. She turned to me one last time. You did this. And for the first time I smiled. Alyssa was pale. For the first time since this started, she realized she wasn't in control anymore. Lisa had already called security. Michael was standing, arms crossed, waiting for them to arrive. The air in the room was thick. But Alyssa wasn't the type to go down quietly. She wasn't done. She took a shaky breath, then smirked. "You really think you won?" she said, looking straight at me. I said nothing. She turned to Michael. "Go ahead. Fire me. But I'd be careful if I were you." Michael raised an eyebrow. "Is that a threat?" Alyssa shrugged. "More like a reality check." And then she dropped the bomb. "I know about the missing money." Silence. Lisa's head snapped up. "What?" Alyssa crossed her arms. "Oh, don't act surprised. There's a reason Michael didn't want me to get promoted." I frowned. What was she talking about? Michael didn't react. He just stared at her. But I saw something, a flicker of something in his eyes. Lisa, however, was not playing. "Explain." Alyssa grinned. She knew she had their attention now. "A couple of months ago, I noticed some discrepancies in the company's financial records. Weird transactions, missing funds, things that didn't quite add up." I blinked. This was new. Michael stiffened. Lisa narrowed her eyes. "And why didn't you report this?" Alyssa smirked. "Because I didn't care. Until now." Michael's jaw tensed. "You're bluffing." Alyssa just smiled. "Am I?" And that's when I knew she wasn't lying. She had found something. And she had been sitting on it, waiting for the right moment. Lisa folded her arms. "Where's your proof?" Alyssa's smirk widened. "Oh, don't worry. I have everything. Emails, spreadsheets, even a few accidental recordings." She turned to Michael. "Tell me, boss, how do you explain the lost $250,000? Lisa's face hardened. "Michael?" He didn't blink. But the vein in his forehead twitched. Lisa exhaled. "All right. Show us what you have." Alyssa glanced at the security guard standing at the door. Then she reached into her bag. For a second, I thought she might actually have the documents printed out. But then she pulled out her phone. And just like that, I realized she had planned this. She had the evidence on her. Lisa held out her hand. "Phone. Now." Alyssa hesitated. Michael's voice was calm, cold, final. "Hand it over." And that's when Alyssa's smirk finally disappeared. She knew. She messed up. Alyssa didn't move. She gripped her phone like it was her lifeline. Then she made the biggest mistake yet. She turned to run. Security was faster. She made it 2 steps before a guard grabbed her wrist. "You're not going anywhere." Lisa snatched the phone from her hand and immediately handed it to IT. "Unlock it." Alyssa freaked out. "Wait, you can't do that. That's my personal property." Lisa didn't even look at her. "It's evidence." Michael leaned back against the desk, arms crossed, watching. I just sat there, watching Alyssa fall apart. The IT guy worked fast. Less than a minute later, he had it unlocked. He froze as he scrolled through the files. Then he looked up at Lisa. "You need to see this." Lisa grabbed the phone, eyes scanning the screen. Her expression changed. Michael walked over, looked, and for the first time since this started, he looked nervous. Lisa put the phone down and exhaled. "This is bigger than we thought." I leaned forward. "What do you mean?" Lisa glanced at Michael, then back at the IT guy. "Get legal. Now." Alyssa let out a hysterical laugh. "Told you." Lisa ignored her. She turned to me. "Did you know about this?" I shook my head. Lisa nodded, like she believed me. Then she turned to Michael. "We need to talk. Privately." Michael's jaw clenched. "Fine." Lisa motioned for security. "Take her somewhere she can wait. Don't let her leave." Alyssa didn't resist. She just smiled at me. "Guess we're not so different after all." And then she was dragged out. Lisa and Michael disappeared into another room. I sat there, staring at the phone on the desk. My revenge was supposed to be the end of this. But now? I was caught in something much bigger. Alyssa was gone, dragged away by security, but the damage wasn't over. I sat there, staring at her phone, still unlocked on Lisa's desk. Michael had left with her. Lisa had followed. IT was whispering among themselves, eyes darting toward me every few seconds like I was part of some scandal I hadn't even realized was happening. I wasn't supposed to be involved in this. Alyssa was my revenge story, not whatever this was. I should have walked away. I should have taken my promotion and never looked back. But something told me this wasn't over. Not for me. And I was right. An hour passed, then 2. The entire office was buzzing with rumors. People were whispering, staring, avoiding eye contact like I was radioactive. Then, finally, Lisa returned. She looked exhausted. She didn't waste time. "Come with me." I followed her down the hall, past rows of cubicles, into a larger conference room. Inside, Michael was already seated. His tie was loosened, and his face looked tense in a way that didn't fit his usual controlled demeanor. Across from him? A lawyer. Lisa sat down, motioned for me to do the same. I did. Then Lisa exhaled. "You need to hear this." Lisa gestured toward the lawyer, who had already opened a folder of documents. We've reviewed Alyssa's files, the lawyer said. She wasn't bluffing. There are inconsistencies in the financial records, money that doesn't have a clear paper trail. I frowned. And what does that have to do with me? Michael leaned forward, his hands clasped together. Because you were the one she tried to frame. Something in my stomach dropped. Lisa nodded. Alyssa altered your messages, sure, but that wasn't her only plan. She was also setting you up to take the fall for the missing money. I stared at her. What? The lawyer slid a document toward me. These are the transactions in question. And they were traced back to your department. I looked at the page, trying to make sense of it. There were large payments, expenses that didn't match any project I had worked on. Lisa's voice was careful. Your name was attached to them. I shook my head. I never touched any of this. We know. I looked up. Michael. His expression had changed. There was something else in his eyes now, something like reluctance. Like he was about to say something he really didn't want to say. And then he did. It was me. Silence. I couldn't move. I moved the money, he said, his voice tight. Years ago. Small amounts at first. Then more. And Alyssa found out. The room felt like it was closing in. Lisa's hands were folded in front of her. She had the proof. And she knew she'd get fired for what she did to you, so she tried to use it as leverage. Michael sighed. She was going to pin it on you. If HR decided to investigate, you would have been the easy target. I just stared. Alyssa had set me up. And Michael had let it happen. I stood up so fast my chair nearly fell back. You knew, I said, my voice shaking. Michael looked away. You knew she was framing me. You knew she had proof of your fraud. And you were going to let her do it? Lisa looked uncomfortable. The lawyer said nothing. Michael exhaled. I was hoping it wouldn't come to that. I let out a bitter laugh. That's your excuse? Michael rubbed his face. Look, you were never supposed to be involved in this. Alyssa was reckless. She got desperate. And she dragged you into something bigger than her. I shook my head. No. She didn't drag me into this. You did. He said nothing. Lisa cleared her throat. The board is being informed. The legal team will handle the next steps. Michael looked at her sharply. We don't need to involve, yes, we do. Lisa's voice was firm. The moment Alyssa blackmailed you, this stopped being something we could keep quiet. Michael realized it then. This wasn't something he could talk his way out of. The weight of it hit him, and he sank back in his chair. Lisa turned to me. I know this isn't what you expected when you walked in this morning. But you should know, you're in the clear. You're getting your promotion. The words didn't hit the way they should have. Because I was still staring at Michael. Alyssa was gone. Michael was on the verge of going down with her. And me? I was supposed to feel victorious. Instead, I felt exhausted. Lisa and the lawyer left to deal with the board. I was about to leave too when Michael spoke. You were always the better choice for the job. I turned back. He gave a small, bitter smile. Alyssa thought she deserved it. But I knew it was always going to be you. I didn't know what to say to that. So I didn't say anything. I just walked out. A week later, Michael resigned. Alyssa tried to fight her termination, but when legal action became a possibility, she disappeared. HR did damage control. My coworkers whispered. Some people avoided me, some congratulated me. And me? I sat in my new corner office and stared out the window. I had one, but at what cost? Alyssa was gone. My best friend had betrayed me in ways I never imagined. Michael, my mentor, had been willing to let me take the fall. The company I had given years of my life to had nearly let it happen. I was successful, but I didn't trust anyone anymore. And I wasn't sure if that was a win or a loss. Alyssa once told me I owed her. She was wrong. But she was right about one thing. I'll never forget this.